Hey, what's going on, guys? This is DK, back at you with another video here to break down the first NFL preseason slate of the year. We got the Hall of Fame game with the Chargers and the Lions, and great contest, $50K to first in the big GPP. You absolutely love to see it. But yeah, before we get into the video, if you guys are interested in more content, I do have a preseason package. Link is in the description. Obviously, we'll be covering every daily fantasy sports slate. What we're doing props, on Pick'em, Prize Picks, and Underdog. So yeah, preseason last year was amazing, and looking forward to another great preseason this year. If you guys are interested, that is linked in the description. But yeah, I would say preseason has like similar edge to Summer League. Summer League for me was amazing. Finished with about 80% ROI there for daily fantasy sports. Won 16-4 on spreads as well for Summer League. And yeah, I can just show you guys a few subscribers. JSN GOAT profited about $20,000. Unreal. That guy never loses. But yeah, just if you want to scroll back on my Twitter, see what people did for Summer League. You can. I'll go to a few more. But yeah. So similar type edge here for the preseason. And yeah, so let's talk about this showdown slate. So showdown in general, obviously you're looking to defenses because they're going to be out there the entire time. Kickers, if a team only has one kicker per team, the kickers are pretty safe. Both the Chargers and the Lions only have one kicker, so that's good. And then the quarterbacks. And right now, we're only expecting two quarterbacks to play for each team. So those like your quote-unquote safest plays. Now, obviously, running backs and wide receivers do have a ceiling, but they're a little bit more risky when there's a lot of guys going to be rotating in. So just in general for the showdown slates, I think wanted to get that out of the way. All right, so we'll start off with the Chargers. I think the best way to do it is kind of look at the depth chart and go from there. But first, let's go over some news that we have for the Chargers. So Trey Lance will start and play one drive into the third quarter, and then DJ Uiagalelei, I forget how to pronounce his name, Uiagalelei, something like that. He was a college quarterback that bounced around a lot. Was at Florida State last year. It's pretty bad. So he'll play the rest of the way. And then we know that like traditional starters are not going to play for the Chargers. However, two rookies who are relatively high up in the depth chart, Hampton and Trey Harris, running back Hampton and wide receiver Trey Harris, will play. Now, how much they play, can't say. I would say maybe 1 to 2 drives, but yeah, that's what we know right now for the Chargers. And then we'll talk about wide receivers there. They have a few guys banged up there too. Okay, so looking at the depth chart, we got, again, Herbert and Heineke are not going to play, so you got Lance and DJ. I think Lance is going to be your highest owned play of the slate. In my opinion, he should be. Last year in the preseason, he played basically the entire game, every game for the Cowboys. And the thing with Trey Lance, too, is he's very mobile. So you got the whole first half for him and then one drive in the third quarter. He projects to play more than any quarterback on the slate, and like I said, he's mobile, so he's going to be massive chalk, and he should be. DJ is playable as a contrarian option. You're expecting about a quarter and a half from him, but I think he'll probably be the lowest owned of the 4 quarterbacks that we're expecting to play with Hooker and Kyle Allen, who we'll talk about here in a bit. All right, so running back for the Chargers, no Najee Harris. The thing with the Chargers, though, is they do have a good amount of running backs here on the depth chart. So you got Hampton, Haskins, Vidal, Nyheim Hines, who's back, Jarrett Patterson, and rookie Raheem Sanders. So they have 6 running backs, which is not ideal. Hampton, I'm expecting to start and, like I said, play like 1 to 2 drives. And then I think you're probably going to get a relatively even split for the other 5 there. So there's no standouts here from the Chargers. I think that maybe Hampton is the riskiest for playing time. Like there's a chance he only gets like 1 drive. But yeah, they're still viable. Obviously all 6 running backs are in play. We'll keep an eye on the news and we'll update as well over there on Odd Shopper if anything does change. But yeah, so 6 running backs again, and not ideal. But yeah, so that's running back for the Chargers. Now for wide receiver, we're not Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston are not going to play. Darius Davis may or may not play. He's wide receiver 3/4, special teams guy. Didn't play a ton in the preseason last year, so he's someone that may or may not play. And then you do have a few guys that are banged up. So obviously Ladd is not going to play. Luke Grimm has not been practicing. Jalen Reagor also has not been practicing for the Chargers. So they could be relatively shorthanded here. And then let's see. What else? Brendan Rice also got a little bit banged up, but looks like he returned to practice. But yeah, so you got the rookie Trey Harris 1, Lambert Smith 2, Rice 3, Johnson 4, Fitzpatrick 5, Jackson 6, Campbell 7 right now. I think that we're expecting to play. Now for a wide receiver, with Trey Harris, same thing I said about Hampton. He's very talented. It's just a matter of how much will he play. Usually it's the guys kind of in the middle to back end of the depth chart that get the most playing time early on in the preseason. But yeah, obviously Trey Harris would still be viable there. And then, middle of the depth chart guys, Lambert Smith, another rookie. He's been looking pretty good. I think he'll be relatively popular. And then you got, again, Rice, Fitzpatrick, Johnson, Campbell. We'll keep an eye on the news. Maybe Grimm can return, maybe Jalen Reagor can return. But right now, expecting those guys to sit. And then for tight ends, so the Chargers have a good amount of guys here listed at tight end. You would think that Conklin probably gets grouped into the starters with Dissly there. So not expecting him to play. Again, still a decent amount of guys on the roster, but if I was going to play a tight end, it probably would be the rookie in Gadsden. Good pass catcher in college, so yeah, if I'm going to play someone there at tight end, it would be him. And then, as we mentioned early in the video, both teams only have one kicker, so Cameron Dicker and Jake Bates will be out there kicking all the extra points and field goals, so they are pretty safe. All right, so let's talk about the Lions now. So for the Lions, right now we don't have anything definitive on playing time, but my expectation at the moment is that you'll get a half from Hendon Hooker and then a half from Kyle Allen. So assuming that is the case, obviously both are going to be pretty safe options. Hooker is pretty mobile too, so expect him to probably be a little bit more popular than Kyle Allen, but if both play a half, they're still good options. Again, we'll keep an eye on the news there. And then update for our premium members. So for running back for the Lions, they're a little bit more shorthanded than the Chargers. So we're not expecting Gibbs and Montgomery. Basically, all the veteran starters for the Lions we're not expecting to play. And then you have Reynolds, Vacchi, Kai, Jabari Small, and Jacob Sailors. Now, Vacchi did get a little bit banged up. He returned to practice. We'll keep an eye on the news if he's going to be available for the Hall of Fame game, because that would be pretty important. I think if he's unavailable, it's probably a little bit more likely that veteran Craig Reynolds plays a bit. I think if Vacchi's available, there's a chance that Craig Reynolds does not play. So the Lions could only have 4 running backs here, kind of depending on what happens with Vacchi. But assuming Vacchi's good to go, I'd expect him and Kai probably to get the most work. But the two back-end guys, Jabari Small and Jacob Sailors, obviously viable as well. So Lions running backs, at the moment, a little bit more shorthanded than the Chargers. And then wide receiver for the Lions. So, again, we're not expecting Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick. I assume Khalif Raymond will also get grouped into that bunch of the starters. So I don't think he'll play either. And then, so you do have some young guys here. Tesla and Dominic Lovett, a couple rookies. Expect both those guys to get a decent amount of run here. And both have been getting some praise in training camp as well. So the two top-end guys there for the Lions, I think look pretty good. Tom Kennedy, he's been around for a while. If you play preseason DFS, you're probably very familiar with Tom Kennedy. I think he'll get a decent amount of work in this game. And then back-end guys, Ronnie Bell, Malik Taylor, Meeks, and Keeney James, all viable. Ronnie Bell, pretty disappointing there for the 49ers, but might have a chance to make the roster here for Detroit. Okay, and then looking at tight end, so Lions are a little bit more shorthanded at tight end than the Chargers. Not expecting Laporta to play, obviously. I think Brock Wright probably gets grouped in too. So that leaves Kenny Yeboah, Zylstra, and Horton Zylstra has been on the team for a while for the Lions. I think he's pretty clearly the tight end 3 right now. So it's a matter of, how much does he play to? I think if I'm going to play a tight end here for Detroit, it probably would be Kenny Yeboah, who's been around for a bit. He was on the Jets for a while too. Decent pass catcher. So I think, again, if I had to play someone, it would be him. And then, Jake Bates, again, only kicker available for the Lions. So he's a relatively safe option there. Guys, that's the general breakdown. As I said, showdown, if you're looking for your most optimal plays, the guys that are going to project the best. As I said, it's going to be the defenses, it's going to be the kickers, and it's going to be the quarterbacks. Can you play running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends on the slate? Of course. They have a high ceiling. It's just a much lower floor than the defenses, quarterbacks, and kickers. So that's going to wrap it up for the video. Again, if you guys are looking for more content, you can always check out the link in the description below. Like I said, we'll be covering every single NFL preseason slate and doing props as well for Pick'em. But thanks again for watching, guys. Great to have NFL back, and we'll see you all in the next video.